Today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to knit this really cute lace sock. It's tiny with a cute afterthought heel, and even though I'm showing you on the little sock, you can definitely follow and knit at bigger sizes if you've knitted socks before. I think this tutorial will be perfect for beginner knitter, someone completely nervous and would want to learn how to knit. If you knit this sock, it will give you all the skills, all the kind of basic stitches to knit sweater, hat, shawl and more. I just made one, but if you want to make two, so pair, you will probably need approximately 15 grams of the white color. I use Drops Fable. This is 75% wool, 25% nylon. And then for the heel, you will need approximately, I think over here, maybe 7. And that's fingering weight yarn. And you need US size. I would recommend you to go US size 1 to 0.25 millimeter needles. Get yourself some circular needles, which basically means you have 2 tips connected with the cable. Are you ready? Let's start. We're going to work on 2 needles. We have a tail facing us, farther one from the ball, and I'm going to go, okay, check it out on the screen, between 2 and twist. I'm going to use the close one to go outside, over, inside, and then this one outside, over, inside. And I'm going to do it, so I have 6 stitches on each needle. And if that fall at the beginning, that means that you need to just twist on the other side. Well, different direction, right? That's it, and I have 6, and I can let it go. Check how simple that is. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to grab the yarn from the ball, put on my finger, pull the needle under, and now we have that lovely cable which is flexible and it will not be on the way, and just knit across. When I finished, I'm still holding stitches, pulling the cord like that, tidying it up, right? When I have these 2, I can put it towards me. So you need to have it in a position that the yarn from the ball is coming out from the stitch on the lower needle. Then it's correct. You're holding it, taking the yarn, and then pulling that below needle, and you're knitting across. If I knit through the, and I normally say that to even have a better fabric tension over here when you finish a sock, that you're knitting through the front leg on the second needle, but you can actually knit it through the second leg, so the leg behind. Okay, so the same story, not to lose anything. And now place it again, double check. And I want to mark the beginning of the round. Well, actually, it's not really the beginning of the round. I just want to know that when I have knitting needles in this position, I know this is when I start. What I'm going to do, I'm going to follow free tutorial, which is easy and fast socks. But because I'm knitting little socks, you know, it'll be just different number of stitches. But if you find it that you can't see something, or I'm out of the frame, check that tutorial then, okay? And there's also maybe 2 or 3 minutes how to just do a yarn over toe, so that's another source for you in case you want to see it better. On the one needle, I'm going just to knit one, and I'm going to do a kind of reverse yarn over. If I'm focusing on the needle goes under and over. If I'm in this position, I'm focusing on the yarn goes over and under, so depends, like this. And then I'm going to knit until 1 stitch left on that needle, and I'm going to do a standard yarn over. So in this case, a needle goes over and under, or either you're focusing on the yarn and yarn goes inside, over, outside, under. Okay, and then you knit the last one. Hold together, pull 1, check the stitch, yarn, put on your finger, and repeat everything. Knit 1, yarn over, knit to the 1 stitch, yarn over, and then knit. And that's that. Now we're going to just have a knit round, which basically means that we're knitting as we would with knitting through the front leg. For the second yarn over, you knit through the back, oopsie daisy, for the back, and then you knit the last stitch as usual. We don't want to have holes unless you do want to have lacy looking socks. You can definitely do it. There is no wrong or right, but in my situation now at this stage I don't want to. I want to close the gap, so basically I'm knitting through the front leg over here, and then in the standard yarn over, when you normally would knit through the front and created a hole, we're knitting through the back, so it's crisscrossing it and closing the gap and knitting through. So I continue that until I have 20 stitches on each knitting needle. So with the first yarn over, because it is normally not the way you want to do it, it has a tendency to pull, so you just need to push it, kind of stretch it, like fixing the hair on your head to the back, and then you will see that you knit through this one, and then you see nice yarn over, kind of reverse one. You will not have any issues with the standard yarn over, but like I said, you knit through the back loop. We don't want holes. One more thing, now when you actually can see that the toe is creating and you can connect these two needles together, you can see I have a yarn coming from the inside, which is the end, and then now the yarn, when I'm facing it like this, when I'm knitting, right, the yarn, the stitch is behind, and the stitch with the yarn coming out is on the second, so the one farther away from us. So we're going to get ready and we're pulling the one that is farther away from us, and we're knitting stitches on the closer needles towards us. Now I will come back when I have 20. I'm still knitting, but I thought maybe I also share the tip. The one with the end, because it's on the way all the time, try to wrap around your finger and then push it in inside the toe. That way hopefully it will not come out, and the only yarn you have is the one from the ball. And here it is. This is my toe. Let's count by 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 20 stitches per needle, 40 stitches overall, and this is almost 2 inches, so overall will be 4 inches. Remember, sock has a tendency to a little bit stretch. As you can see, the toe is a little bit pointy. If you don't want that one, I would say maybe start with 8 stitches per each, and then it will look like basically like that. Maybe next one we'll do it that way. So what I'm going to do now is just knitting around, but before I do it, I'm going to change my lovely safety pin, let's go that way, and put it on the first stitch on the knitting needle. And now I'm thinking, should I continue with white so I won't have any ends to wave in, or I may go spice things up and go with different color, or use this color for like just contrast color heel, and I think I might do that. And the next thing, because it'd be very boring, is just to go and knit in the round, I'm going to maybe design a little very simple lace pattern that we're going to put in the front, but numbers the way we knit stitches, and as you know, we knit from right to left like this. So these are our stitches, and we're going up, which will be our rounds. I don't know how many. First things first, let's maybe find a center. So this is our center, and what I'm going to do, just for fun, I'm going to put purls over here. So our minuses is purl, and our empty square is knit, and then we'll play with yarn overs. So this is what I come up with, very simple, and so basically I'm going to repeat this. Empty square is a knit, minus is a purl, 0 is yarn over, and this leaning to the right is knit 2 together, and this leaning to the left is SSK. So basically we try to decrease so that the stitches are leaning to the right, and we want to decrease over here the way that stitches are leaning to the left. Okay, so this is my kind of idea. Let's do the first round. And the first round, the chart will be only on the front, and I will just knit in the back because that will be a sole of our foot, and this will be a front. Get to the top when I know when I'm going to put the heel and I want to start knitting cuff, I can actually knit this on both sides. But so far, just on one. So we're going to knit, purl, knit, purl, and now 1, 2, 3, right? We're going to do 3 knits, 2, 3, and now knit it together. If you haven't done it, it's basically like knitting with one stitch, but you're knitting through 2 stitches. That's all. Then we're going to do yarn over. So in this case, either you're focusing on your needle and you're going to go behind and under, or you're focusing on your yarn and you're moving it inside, outside. But at the end of the day, as you can see, that the yarn has to be resting on the needle in the front. Okay, and now we're going to purl 2. And we're going to do yarn over and SSK. So we're going to slide as if to knit 1, 2 stitches. Now put them on the left needle, and I really don't want to take them out because that way I'm knitting through the back loops of those 2 stitches. So I'm knitting it through. It just saves time to put it back again. And then we're going to do 3, right, knits, and then we're going with purl, knit, purl, knit. So that's how we follow a pattern. So the next stage, we're kind of doing exactly the same. The only thing changes is the position of knit together and yarn over. So the only thing we have to remember that instead of 3, we will have 2, but we will be adding a knit on the side, and opposite we will have only 1 knit. We'll do knit together, yarn over, and 2. Straight away from the purls, we'll be doing knit together, yarn over, then knitting 3 stitches until we get to the center of our front of the sock. So we'll just be repeating this. If you want to freeze, enjoy knitting. Here it is. As you can see, you can probably say how many times I have repeated this 5 round repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm thinking that would be a nice size, adding a toe over here for some little foot. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my progress keeper and I'm going to mark first stitch on my needle behind, and I'm going to mark another one over here. I'm going to do Afterthought Heel, so there will be positions where I will be placing needles and then cutting yarn in the middle, so that'll be fun. For now, what I'm going to do, maybe for another 2 repeats, I'm going to just do the front and plain knitting on the back, but after those 2 I will be creating pattern in the front and in the back. Okay? Hello, and here it is. As you can see, I've done so much. As I mentioned, I just repeated twice. I've been repeating pattern in the front and also in the back, and you may see how many times I did that. 1, 2, 3. And now what I'm thinking to do, I'm going to do 1 by 1 ribbing, just in case you want to see how it is done. So I'm going just knit and purl, doing a twisted purl in the back. So this way, slightly different than usual ones. If you try to find a tutorial how to do it, is not the way I'm doing it, but this is just for me to quickly do the purl. I'm not a fan of the standard one. I know how to do it, but you know, there's no pressure. They look exactly the same way on the right side, and for me that's actually the most important thing. And now, to be honest, I've done it and I'm not really happy about it. So what I'm going to do, because I would want this to line up with the ribbing, so I'm going to go to our 2 central stitches, which we have the purl ones, and I'm going to purl over here. So I'm going to go back now. 3, oopsie daisy, it fell down. Dropped stitch, emergency. So what we're going to do, we're going to try to see and grab the loop. Once we have it grabbed, we're checking how many ladders we have, either in the front or in the back. If it's a purl column, obviously the ladders should be in the front, so I'm putting the ladder on the left needle, then the stitch, because I dropped only 1. It didn't go down below. If it did, well, we would have more ladders, and I'm just going to purl this one. I have repeated knit 1, purl 1 for the first 10 stitches, and now I'm going to go purl 1, knit 1, and that way it will nicely balance up is that the word? Balance. Kind of lined up with this texture over here at the end of my needle. And that will be my ribbing. So not a standard per se, but it will follow the texture, which I really like. I'm going to repeat it all around the same way, 10 this way, 10 this way, and so on, so on. And I will come back to you in a sec. So using magic loop method, I know it sounds fancy. This is what we're doing with the needles, that they're like this, that I'm pulling one, I'm knitting with it, I'm turning into work, I'm pulling again and again, and it's called magic loop, because there's like a loop that we're creating. Don't ask me why anyway. But what I did 6 rounds of ribbing. Okay, I can't say completely one by one. It is one by one, but sometimes purls and knit shifts, right? So I did 6. Normally for myself I do 10 or sometimes 14. So I think that would be too much for this little sock. So I thought 6 is fine. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do Tubular Bind Off because I love it. There's a tutorial on this channel, so check it out. I'm actually done it when I was banding off sweater, which is a grey sweater. I know sometimes you don't really like grey yarn to show you things. That's why I'm knitting on the white. So what do we need? We need tapestry needle. You see this is a thicker one, the pink one. These kind of tags you can find in my shop if you want to kind of make sure that you're not going to lose the needle in the jar. That's what I do. And I have this one. So basically I wrapped the yarn around 3 times, but it's actually approximately the circumference of the whatever you do in the circular way. This is a sock, for instance, but just to be aware that thicker yarn you'll have, get yourself an extra wrap. So with the bulky, let's say it should be 3, I would go 5. It's just bulky yarn takes more yarn. So for easier thing, I'm going to drop this. You know, it won't be exactly the same because I change things over here, but I will still follow for 1 by 1 tubular. So basically we have a knit and then we have a purl. When we have a knit, we're going to put the tapestry needle as if to knit, and then skip the first one and put as if to purl over here through the second one, and pull the yarn through. Then as if to purl, take it out and then put it between 2 stitches. I should pull it through the second stitch, but check it out, I just put 1 ply. How to fix it? So I'm going to temporarily put the stitch on this needle, try to grab a loop, and take the stitch off. So I basically do myself a drop stitch. Now I have, because it's a purl stitch, I have the ladder, then the loop, and using tapestry needle I'm just going to purl and put it back on the left needle. I think should be like this anyway, because I'm doing different purls. Okay, so remember we're fixing, we have to put that thing back, and now going like this with the last one. I'm completely wrong, I don't know, but anyway, let's start from the beginning. When you have a knit, you're going as if to knit through the second one. This is the second one. Now as if to purl between 2, and now pull through the second stitch, and we start with the knit. So again, when we see the knit, we're going knit, purl on the second, purl, take it off, between, and through the last one. I know I'm showing it fast, apologies for that, but it's not a perfect tutorial. I would say go check out that tutorial that I recorded, maybe it's a little bit better, but let's do it one more time. So as if to knit through the second one, that's a phase 1 I call it. Phase 2 is purl between the gate, and then through the stitch. So you need to literally know that it goes through the stitch like this. And that's that. We're going to repeat that. Obviously this kind of changes, you won't be seeing knits, but it will be purls, but I'm doing that way. And people may not know what to do when you have two stitches left. What I do, I put them on this tapestry needle and release the needle, and I'm trying to grab over here 2 stitches, so those kind of bumps. and I'm putting back now those 2 on the left needle, and I do the full 3 phases. So knit, purl, purl, through, and knit. Oh, sorry, hopefully you've seen it. And now I'd like to pull a little bit just to kind of even things up and wave in ends. And the way I like to do it, I'm going when I see the knit stitch on the wrong side. So this is one, and I told you that I like to do the twisted purl. So if you can see, this is oh, it might be this way. No, this way. So this is twisted. You see, it's like a braid. It's not straight like over here. You see those legs? They're showing you V's all the time, or A, but they're not crisscrossing their legs. Over here, they do, and that's what it's called, twisted stitch. It's a really nice stitch. And just hiding between those V's, one after another, and then when I'm ready, I can just cut the yarn like this. Yay! So our tube is ready. The only thing now is to insert heel. And I'm going to put Afterthought Heel, and the one I'm talking about is the one when you cut the yarn in the middle. Sometimes people will refer Afterthought Heel to the one that you put a waste yarn and then you're knitting, right, when you're doing the tube. I like this way because at every stage now I can change position of the heel. I'm going to hold in direction I have been knitting. As you can see, I marked the right leg of the first stitch. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go below and grab the right leg of below stitch. And we know we have 20, so I'm just following in the row 20 right legs. So 1, here it is. What I do, I remove this one because as you can see the needles point that direction. This will be our beginning of the round. So I'll remove this. And now I'm going to leave one round above my needle, and I'm going to pick the right leg above. So now between the 2 needles, when I finish, I will have 1 row of stitches. Easing up, put yourself a cord over here. See, double check, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the middle. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull 1 leg, only 1 leg of the stitch in the middle, just 1, and cut it. Now I like to put hand through the cuff and unravel until I have 2 stitches over here. Okay, so you see that I have 2 stitches on the cord and the yarn is coming out between the 2nd and the 3rd. Okay, so let's do the same thing on the other side. So over here we have 2 stitches on the cord and the yarn is coming out between the 2nd and the 3rd. Maybe that kind of get it easier for you to do the heel. Okay, I'm pulling the ends towards and preparing needles. So here it is. This will be our beginning. I'm going to change that because it will go into hide in a sec. And to make it fun, I'll take different color, maybe this one. Leave an end to wave in. And I'm going to do 2 rounds of just knit. Remember when you're knitting, you're not knitting with the end yarn. If it happens like it happened to me now, just go back to the first stitch which you knitted, just drop this one, pick up from the ball, and then knit. It happens to me all the time. I forget to check. So what we're doing now, we're just knitting. Normally I knit 3 or 4 times for my size, so for 56 stitches on the knitting needles. That's normally what I do. If I knit socks for Seb, so he's maybe 10 inches foot, I'm like 9-inch foot, I'll knit 4 rounds. Obviously I'm talking over here in the fingering weight yarn. Obviously thicker, could be less, and so on. I'm going to hide it in a while, this end, because it's on the way. Just hide it inside. Now you remember we did the toe and we were increasing. Now we're going to decrease, but not worries. Remember this lovely lace that we did. You could see that we already did knit together and SSK, so that's what we will be doing here. We're going to do it on one needle, and then we're going to repeat it on the other one, and that will be our decrease round. And after that round we'll just have a knit round. So we're going to knit one, SSK, so we want the crease to lean to the left, and we're going to knit until 3 stitches are left on our needle. To knit 1 stitch, but instead of 1 we're knitting 2. You've done it, you know it, and the last is a knit stitch. Let's repeat on the other side, because I'm looking at my knitting, not at my camera. I'm not sure do you see everything the way you should be seeing it, because the focus is sometimes going bad, so I'm sorry about that. I need to learn probably something about cameras, but I prefer to knit. So yes, we knit 1, we did SSK, now we're moving to the last 3 stitches on our needle, and then when we get there we just knit 2 together and then knit 1. So obviously, ooh, what happened? I dropped stitches. Check it out. Let's pick them up. That's how you pick the stitches. So hold it properly, pull it, and now we're just going to knit in around. Okay, those 2 rounds we're going to repeat. Now is going to be decrease round, followed by a knit round. Until I think, let's do it until we have only 8 stitches, maybe not have such a pointy toe. So we should have it maybe this way. Let's see. I finished on the crease, so I didn't do another round, but if you did, don't worry, that's fine too. So I have 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm counting in 2s, that's why. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap 1, 2, 3 like this, because that's kind of the circumference of my heel. And this time what we're going to do, I hope to have focus and show you how to do Kitchener stitch. So when we start, we have the yarn between 2 needles, so it's wrapped down here, nothing around. Double check you have even number of stitches, and what you do first, you're going to this, we see knits. Inside, we see purls. So every time we start with the thing that we see. So we're going to slip the stitch as if to knit. So the tapestry needle goes as if we would want to knit this. And then we're going to purl through the stitch that stayed on the needle. And then, even though I'm not thinking now, and let's say I forgot, I know I'm going to work on my second, and my second, when I see inside, is purls. So I'm going to slip the stitch as if to purl and pull the tapestry needle as if to knit through the stitch that stayed on the needle. And that's basically it. We're going to repeat that, but as the last one, I just knit, purl, and pull it through. But as you can see, when I was doing that with that extra bit, I had a corner, a very sharp corner over here, so I don't really like it. Marker off, then just pull this through close. And what I like to do, I like to flip the heel over here and pull it completely through, and I wave in ends. And the way I like to weave in, I do it straight away. Once I finish, I just follow the yarn, and the last, I just like to pull through 2 side purls like this. Mark your tapestry needle. It weighs 8.1 grams. I hope you enjoyed this one. See you next one. Bye! What do you like? Color work next time in that little form of a sock? Let me know. It was so much fun to do. I hope you enjoyed this one. Go check my Knitting I Love channel over here on YouTube. You will see more knitting inspiration, so interesting patterns I've designed for you, so check the links down below. Also go to my knittingilove.com website. There is a tiny little shop. You may find keychains, little tags. Hopefully they're still there. Till the next one.